Hi, I'm Toyin, one of the volunteers for the Grenfell Media Watch campaign, and we monitor the media, critique it, share opinions and attitudes towards what's happening with the mainstream reporting and exclusion of reporting of all things to do with Grenfell, really. On the 14th, I mean, when I saw what happened, when I went down, I met people who had actually just come out of the tower who were traumatised, saying that they're going to get away with it. What can we do? What can we do? And I kind of had the sense that there was something we can do about it, that we can fight. There was just so much pain at that time. I don't even like talking about it. It's really weird because it's like when I go back to that day, it was really painful. I think when I see a scrum of media, when there's like so much people down there, the cameras, I sometimes question sincerity, like preying off the emotions of people to get ratings. I'm not saying obviously everyone's involved in that, but there is a sense of that.
Come here with your cameras, you don't bring food, you're not on holiday, this is not a photo opportunity.
It's unlikely that they'd be here to cover the issues of the people who were represented in Grenfell if it was something good they were doing, if there was like a project that was positive. So I knew it was kind of a sense of like eating off or feeding off the pain of the grief, and it kind of like didn't sit right with me. I'm a strong advocate for independent media, the fact that we need to have our own voices. So even though mainstream medias are reporting raw footage, it's kind of like the way charities operate. They call it poverty porn. I kind of find this in a kind of distasteful kind of disaster porn. What people are doing, they're going down there, getting raw emotions where people still haven't got time to process how they feel, and they're exploiting it to get more viewers, more listeners, more advertising revenue. So Media Watch, I mean, one of the things we do is actually not just watching what they say, but actually just watching them on the streets, watching how they're operating, how they're talking to people, how dismissive they are after the cameras stop rolling. The empty platitudes, that the sincerity is politically motivated. The desire for change is really to get the public off people's back. It isn't because there's a real heartfelt connection with what's going on. So when we find out about things like the suicides, which we knew a long time ago, the only reason why politicians got involved was because of media scrutiny of it. You kind of like monitor them, watch them, keep them on their toes to make sure that things are going. But I think the genuine message that we're getting is that even though there's a lot of people coming up talking about issues and politicians kind of like even fake crying on issues, we don't have a sense that there's real sincerity. Not at all, really. I'm an anthropologist, so part of my belief is that you can't just dip in and dip out of a situation and get the whole picture. You kind of had to live with the community. You had to make it a full-time commitment. So even if you're there for a couple of years, reporting, talking, living, eating, sleeping, laughing, dancing, all those kind of things, that's when you start to find out what really matters. If you dip in and dip out whenever there's a headline that comes out that's very interesting, then you miss the nuances. And that's a problem. That's the reason why Media watches every week, because that way we're always feeling the changes. If we put something out there, there's feedback, then we learn from that feedback, or we push because of the feedback. It's a continuous process, and I don't think the mainstream media gets that. They're very used to making like very short 5-minute packages. In fact, I say 5 minutes, they're normally 3-minute packages, which is actually barely the same length as the adverts that they actually sandwich in between. I don't think the conversation of Grenfell has been kicked in the long grass. And I think basically what's happened is that the community response, the national response, and the international attention has embarrassed the government so much that they're forced to keep giving kind of like at least the illusion of being involved, the illusion of being interested. But it's the families, it's the communities, it's the children, it's the trauma, it's all people who are refused to forget that keeps it going.
Yes, we might have single families, we might have one-parent families, we might have immigrants, but you know what? None of us ain't poor. We're rich in spirit, and we're rich in humanity.
The only thing that will push us into the long grass is the inquiry. That's my biggest fear. Some people believe it's going to bring justice, others don't. But what I am very sure about is that while people pause investigations, stop giving out statements, using the inquiry as a buffer, as an excuse, what happens is that issues that need to be investigated now, scrutinised now, they're the things that they push into the long grass. I really dislike talking about the death toll situation. I don't even like using the phrase death toll. Those are human beings, those people who have perished. who've lost their lives needlessly. There's been a lot of politics played with these numbers. Watching Hurricane Irma, some of the footage of that, the numbers have been quite low because people have been evacuated. And I look at Grenfell and I think, it wasn't even a natural disaster, it was a wholly man-made disaster, completely avoidable. Even the number of 80 is horrendous. Even if one life was lost in Grenfell Towers on that day, because of those decisions that are made over financial reasons, that's one life too many. I think there's been much said about how the numbers have been massaged, but I've heard stories unofficially from firemen or friends who know firemen that they saw hundreds of bodies, but I can't share that through the media watch because I like data. But we know that the numbers being told is not true. How do we get justice, not just for those that we know of, but those that we don't know of, and those that are surviving with the memories of those that we don't know of? Money isn't really the only cause of this problem. It's actually a lack of heart, a ruthless callousness, a political ideology, a political idea that profit is more important than people that led to this. What right now we need is political action, political will. Keeping this on the agenda, holding people to account. Don't let people get off with fines. So we need them to learn the lessons. And the only way to learn the lessons is to hit them where it hurts. Reducing them to prisoner status so they can feel what it's like when they are in prison with someone who's been jailed for stealing a £1 bottle from down the road because we're in Hackney. And then also to take away their financial assets. Don't use limited corporations and other legal instruments as a way to protect their privilege. I don't like PR for PR's sake, so I'm not having a critique on the people involved in it. I'm sure they meant well, but I would rather that these millionaires that are playing on the football pitch, these people with massive sports endorsements, were actually using their celebrity status to actually make political change. Not just to say Grenfell was bad, we feel sad, let's all kick a football around for Grenfell. These are easy solutions, these are easy things, which I think are actually vanity projects. So yeah, do something that's actually meaningful. But those people who have that access to power, access to the ears of those in charge, of the elite, they can actually make a real difference. And I don't think that they're doing enough. I don't think a financial donation, a check, is enough. I really don't. For some people, prayer will work. For some people, dancing will work. For some people, seeing people in court responsible going to jail will work. So I think we need all of those means. We need to see hard, tangible, physical realities that affect the physical, political world.
Food, bread, water. Anybody hungry?
No, I know everybody's saying it's the cladding, and they're saying cladding the same. I'm getting interviewed